Potent Ponder and I'm back. Yo, so Luigi Mangione, his manifesto allegedly leaked online, right? And it reveals some things that me, even working in the healthcare industry. Now, I know that UnitedHealthcare is the largest healthcare system in the United States. I worked for private insurance before, so I worked for a company in upstate New York. And I just, by some of the things that's described in this manifesto, we didn't even operate like that in regards to like claims processing and prior authorizations. So listen, I'm not even going to wait. I'm going to get into this. Some people were saying that this wasn't real or whatever, but I just want to, it's two actually. So just hold on to your seats, and I'm going to read this. I'm going to try to get us through this, briefly, right? All right. So it's called the allopathic complex and its consequences. The allopathic complex and its consequences. All right. So the Second Amendment means that I am the chief executive and commander in chief of my own military. I authorize my own act of self-defense in response to the hostile entity making war on me and my family. All right. Nelson Mandela says no form of violence can be excused. Camus says it's all the same. Whether you live or die, have a cup of coffee. MLK says that violence never brings permanent peace. Gandhi says that nonviolence is the mightiest power available to mankind. That's who they tell you who our heroes. That's who our revolutionaries are. Yes, that's who they tell us who our revolutionaries are. Yes, is that not capitalistic? Nonviolence keeps the system working at full speed ahead. All right. What did it get us? Look in the mirror. All right. So they want us to be nonviolent so that they can grow fat of all of the blood they take from us. The only way out is through. Not all of us will make it. Each of us is our own chief executive. You have to decide what you will tolerate. All right. And this is said allegedly by Luigi. In Gladiator 1, Maximus cuts into the military tattoo and identifies him as a part of the Roman legion. His friend asks, is that a sign that you're God? As Maximus carves deeper into his own flesh as his blood drips down to his skin, Maximus smiles and nods yes. All right. The tattoo represents the emperor who is God, the God emperor who made himself Maximus' own flesh. The only way to destroy emperor is to destroy himself. Maximus smiles through the pain because he knows it's worth it. These might be my last words. I don't know when they will come for me. I will resist them at any cost. That's why I smile through the pain. Let me know in the comments if you think that this is, it, but it sounds really legit, right? So he said, so this is what Luigi Mangione said. He said the first time the pain, he was speaking about his mother. All right. So, okay. All right. So decide what you will tolerate. Okay. So he said, smile through his pain. I'm sorry. So he said, they diagnosed my mother with severe neuropathy when she was 41 years old. She said that it started 10 years before with the burning sensations in her feet and occasional sharp stabbing pains. At first, the pain would be a few minutes, then fade to tingling and numbness, and then to tingling and numbness, then fade nothing for a few days later. All right. This is small writing. I'm doing my best, so just bear with me. He said the first time the pain came, she ignored it. Then it came a couple times a year. She ignored it. Then talking about her neuropathy, right? Then every couple of months, then a couple of times a month, then a couple of times a week. At that point, the tingling faded into numbness. The pain would start and the discomfort was constant. At the point, even going from the couch to the kitchen to make her lunch became a major endeavor. She started with ibuprofen until the stomach aches and acid reflux made her switch to acetaminophen. Then the headaches and the barely sleeping made her switch back to ibuprofen. The second doctor said it was a compressed nerve in her spine. She needed surgery. It will cost $180,000. Recovery would be 6 months minimum before walking again. 12 months full potential recovery, and she would never lift anything more than 10 pounds again. The third doctor performed a nerve conduction study, electromyography, MRI, and blood tests, each which cost $800 to $1,200. She hit the $6,000 deductible. This is something that I'm very familiar with. He's talking about that $6,000 deductible, because typically in healthcare, if you have one of those deductible plans, you have to pay that deductible, and then they pay a certain percentage, which is usually 80-20, or if you go out of network, 60-40. All right, so she hit her $60,000, and listen to this, deductible of her UnitedHealthcare plan in October. Then the doctor went on vacation, and my mother wasn't able to resume tests until January, when her deductible reset. So that's real for a lot of people. Depending on what's going on, they meet that deductible for the year, and then all of a sudden they can't get services done for the rest of the year because they either slow under authorization and booking the surgeries. It's just a lot, and a lot of people don't be having the money. But it seemed like he came from a wealthy family. So this is why, I don't know if this is 100% real. I don't know what medical plan this is. I don't know if this is a Medicare plan or what. He said his mother was 41. He's 26. Maybe, it's been 10 years, or, I think he said that in the writing, right? Okay, so let's just continue on. The test showed severe neuropathy. The $180,000 surgery would have no effect if she would have got that, right? So they prescribed opioids for the pain. At first, the pain relief was worth the price of constant mental fog and constipation. She didn't tell me about that until later. All I remember is we took a trip for the first time in years, and when we drove to Monterey to go to the aquarium, I saw in real life, I saw an otter in real life swimming on its back. We left at 7 a.m. and listened to Green Bay on the 4-hour car ride home. Over time, the opioids stopped working. They made her more sensitive to pain, and she felt withdrawal symptoms after just 2 to 3 hours. And this is why people don't like taking opioids. My mother had a hip fracture, and we would not let her take opioids because people get addicted to it and they start having withdrawals. It's just a lot that's associated with that. All right. So they said that they had to get off the opioids, the withdrawals, and then she went on gabapentin. By now, the pain was so bad that she couldn't exercise, which compounded the weight gain from the slow metabolic rate and hormonal shifts, and it barely helped the pain, the gabapentin, and it made her fatigued and would go an entire day without getting out of bed. All right, then the corticosteroids, which didn't even work. Okay, the pain was so bad I could hear my mother wake up in the middle of the night screaming in pain. I would run to her room asking her if she was okay. Eventually, I stopped getting up. She yelled out anguished shrieks of wordless pain, or the word stretched and distended to its limits. I'd turn over and just go back to sleep. All right. Come on, man. Why are you on my screen? All right. So he said all of this while they bled us dry with follow-up appointments. Ooh, I want you to listen to this. This is something true. This is what's making me wonder if this is a Medicare policy, just based on some things that they said. But he said all of this while they bled us dry for follow-up appointments after appointment, specialist consultations, and image scans. Each appointment was promised to be fully covered until the insurance claims delayed and denied. Allopathic medicine, I'm thinking that this is an office. Allopathic medicine did not help pay for my mother's suffering, yet it is the foundation of our entire society. My mother told me that on a good day, the nerve pain was like she said on a good day, the nerve pain was like her legs were immersed in ice water. On a bad day, it felt like her legs were clamped in a machine shop vise, screwed down to where the crank stopped turning, then crushed further until her ankle bones splintered and cracked to accommodate the tightening clamp. She said she had more bad days than good days dealing with the neuropathy. All right. My mother crawled to the bathroom on her hands and knees. I slept in the living room to create more distance from her cries at night. I still woke up and still went back to sleep. Back then, I thought that there was nothing I could do. All right. So the high copays made consistent treatment impossible. New treatments were denied as not medically necessary. Old treatments didn't work, and we still put out thousands of dollars. Now, I do know with dealing with healthcare, they do have certain things that are not considered covered medically necessary or whatever. It's difficult, and I'll save my comments further to the end because I want to get through this. All right. So UnitedHealthcare limited specialist consultations to 2 times per year. How can you limit someone's consultations to 2 times per year? You supposed to, especially when you have a PPO type of policy. HMOs, I think they have referrals that are required, but PPOs, like I have a PPO, there's no referral required for that. So I wonder what type of policy that she has. Maybe he's just experiencing the issue, the trouble. Maybe she's on a Medicare plan. I don't know if his mom is permanently disabled, but I do know with being on Medicare that there are certain things they try to send you to jump through hoops, and it's really bad, right? Okay, so UnitedHealthcare told them that they only could see they could have 2 specialist consultations per year. They refused to cover advanced imaging, which typically is not covered by insurance, which the specialists require for an appointment. Yeah, advanced imaging, like I remember women would call about wanting 3D ultrasounds for their pregnancies, and we didn't cover that. So prior authorizations took weeks, then months. Now, when I worked upstate at MVP Healthcare, a prior authorization was done within 24 to 72 hours that if we needed more information, from them, right? Prior authorizations took weeks to months. United Healthcare constantly changed their claim filing procedure. They said my mother's doctor needed to fax in notes. Then United Healthcare would say that they did not save fax patients' correspondences and required a hard copy of the doctor's notes to be sent in through the mail. That's messed up. That's just something to slow you down, I personally feel. Oh, man. All right. They said that they never just received the notes. They said they're unable to approve the claim until they receive the medical notes from the doctor. All right. They promised coverage and they broke their word to my mother. With every delay, my anger surged. With every denial, I wanted to throw a doctor through the glass wall at the hospital waiting room. But it wasn't the doctors. It wasn't the receptionists, the administrators, the pharmacists, imaging technicians, or anyone we ever met. It was United Healthcare. Whew. People are dying. Evil has become institutionalized. Corporations make billions of dollars off pain, suffering, and death, and anguish cries at the night of millions of Americans. All right. He said, we entered into an agreement for healthcare with a legally binding contract that promised care would commensurate with our insurance payments and medical needs. The United Healthcare changes to the rules suits their own profits. They think that they make the rules and think that because it's legal, no one can punish them. They think that there's no one out there that's willing to stop them. Now, my own chronic back pain, and this is why I feel like this is real, because I felt like the other day they were posting saying that he had some sort of chronic back pain, and even his friends had attested to it. So let's check this out. So now my own chronic back pain wakes me at night, screaming in pain. I sought out another type of healing that showed me the real antidote to what ails us. I bide my time, saving the last of my strength to strike my final blows. All extractors must be forced to swallow the bitter pain they dish out to millions. All right? Whew. As our chief executives, he's saying that we're all our own chief executives of our life. You know what's so crazy? I always say that I'm the administrator of this. Like when I do my content on YouTube, like I don't have no HR to report to. I do what I want to and I don't do what I don't want to, right? All right? He says, as our own chief executives, it's our obligation to make our own lives better. First and foremost, we must seek to improve our own circumstances and defend ourselves. As we do, our actions have ripple effects that can improve the lives of others, assuming that, the execution he took out was... All right. So rules exist between two individuals in a network that covers the entire earth. Some of these rules written down. Some of these rules emerge from natural respect between two individuals. Some of these rules are defined in physical laws, like the properties of the gravity, magnetism, or the potential energy stored in the chemical bonds of potassium nitrate. No single document better encapsulates the belief of all people are equal in a fundamental and worth and moral status and the framework of fostering collective well-being than the United States Constitution. Writing a rule down makes it into law. I don't give a fuck about the law. Laws mean nothing. What does that matter? What does matter following the guidance of your own logic? And we learn from those before us to maximize our own well-being, which will then maximize the well-being of our loved ones and community. That's where United Healthcare went wrong. They violated their contract with my mother, with me, with tens of millions of other Americans. This threat to my health, my family's health, and the health of our country's peoples requires me to respond with an act of war. So the man is calling this an act of war, Luigi Mangione. You know what, Luigi, to his family, and his family responded. They said that, they found out about everything in real time, like, we all did. They didn't know anything, regarding the matter. Now, I know that when they seen his face on TV, I know that they knew that was him. They had to have known it was him. So maybe they just didn't want to rat him out or whatever. And then this is another excerpt that came from that I seen online, right? And it said, this is another statement he stated, and this wasn't mentioned in what I just read, right? So it said, to the feds, I'll keep this short because I respect what you do for our country to save. I respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial, some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, and a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some struggling notes and to-do lists to illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife or traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the U.S. has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank number 42 in life expectancy. UnitedHealthcare is the indecipherable largest healthcare company in the United States by market, behind only Apple and Google. Ooh, that's interesting to know. And UnitedHealthcare, they done incorporated so many other insurance companies too. So he said that they're right behind Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown, but our life expectancy, no. The reality is these indecipherable have gotten too powerful. And they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have the space. And frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out a full argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, and he mentioned somebody's name, Rosenthal Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point. It is but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first one to face it with such brutal honesty. Ooh, so listen, I want to say rest in peace to Brian Thompson. Unfortunately, as I told y'all before, I've worked in the health. Shout out to all of my people if you watch this video and you understand like the healthcare game, the prior authorizations and things like that. And certain things just unfortunately, like they not covered under healthcare. They just not. And I don't know. See, I wish that I could fully diagnose this and understand what type of policy his mom had, so I could figure out, was that an exclusion? Was he mad over something that was just a basic exclusion? Because listen, I remember I was working with somebody before where they were working for United Airlines, and they had a policy that covered everything. I'm talking about implants, BBLs, everything. They cover all types of surgery, and the insurance went away. But health insurance typically does not cover that. It don't cover that at all. It would cover the people who work for United Airlines. They had a really good coverage. I don't know if you know anybody who works for them, but that insurance used to cover everything, because every person I know that worked there told me about it, but a lot of health insurances, they have exclusions, I was just telling you the other day how somebody wrote into my job, and I was reading a note that they were upset that this is a supplemental health insurance, just to give you an example. Supplemental is not mainstream like major healthcare like United Healthcare. That's major. Dealing with a supplemental health insurance plan, this person was mad because there was some sort of clause in their contract that you couldn't. It's a clause, and it's clear that you're billing us for something that's a clause. And they wrote a letter to the CEO. They put CEO in it. You giving me them vibes like Luigi Mangione. And I want people to get more familiar with their healthcare products, their plans, with the verbiage and the literature that's in their policies. I wish that Luigi could have saved his life, and because what type of back issues are you going to be having now that you locked up? This is just going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. So listen, let me wrap this video up. Potent, pondering, never pandering. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think about this manifesto. Yeah, man, I'm up out of here. Be blessed, and rest in peace to Brian Thompson's family. My heart goes out to Luigi's family as well, because they don't have him, Yeah, I'm out. Peace.